Hello, everyone.
Hi.
It's good to see you all again.
Can you see them?
No.
But they can see us.
God, these things always start so abruptly.
Yes, it's all of a sudden the red light is on and there you are.
One minute you're frantically tripping over mic cables, and then the next minute, here you are.
These are our new cordial mic cables,
Yes,
actually.
white.
Nice white ones.
Soon they'll be dirty, I'm
Lifetime
sure, but right
guarantee.
now they're very clean.
What's that?
I said soon they'll be dirty, but right now they're very clean.
Well, hopefully they won't. But-
Well, everybody, it's great to have you here. I'm Alice Howe.
and I'm Freebo, and this is Inside Live, and our special guest today is Holly Neer, and we're going to go inside Holly's career and her thoughts and her mind and her whole belief system, for crying out loud.
Holly is an amazing singer and songwriter and activist. She's got a 50-year career, just iconic artist in the folk world and beyond, and we're so happy to have her here with us. Let's bring her in.
Shall we? Let's do that.
Hi, Holly.
Hi.
Holly, how
Hey.
you doing?
I'm very well. The amazing technology we're living with, and
Oh my goodness.
got the
I know.
COVID haircut, the non-haircut, got the.
I hear you.
That's what we're all working with. Looks good.
Well, it's what you see is what you get. That's how that goes. It's really
Yes.
lovely to have been invited. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for doing it with us. We appreciate it.
Don't dig too deep into my brain.
Well, that's always the danger. I know. We do tend to go deep in this little conversation. That's what's fun about it. We
Yes.
like to have friends on here who are willing to talk, not just about their new album, although that's great too, but who you are and how you started down this path and what led you here.
Yeah, how
to
you
this
arrived
moment.
at this place in life.
But maybe we should start with a song. Or should
Yeah,
we
you want to start with something, or do you want to?
Would you sing us something?
I will. Let me
Tell us about what you'd like to do.
Sure, I will. Let's see what. I think I'm going to sing a song called Fired Up because I just found out that the other day Chile, which has been a really repressive place off and on over time, had a terrible constitution. And the turnout was huge, and it was 80% to 20% to rewrite the Constitution.
Wow.
That's sort of amazing. There was a conservative person in power wanting to hold on to the Pinochet past, which is not one worthy of holding on to. Lots of death and destruction. So I'm feeling very inspired. I've been listening to some of the Latin American music that comes out of Chile. But I'm hoping that we can get the same fire going here in the next few days and really go out to vote, not only for a candidate, but for integrity. Please bring back some integrity,
Amen.
some commitment to the law. It's not always perfect, but it's really gone downhill. So I'm gonna sing Fired Up.
Please.
Fired up, ain't gonna take it no more. We're tied up, ain't gonna take it no more. You say cool down, we say step down. You're breaking my mother's heart. Shame, shame. Fired up, ain't gonna take it no more. We're tied up, ain't gonna take it no more. You say cool down, we say step down. You're breaking my mother's heart. Shame, shame. Children need schools more than they need jails, and that's where our society fails. First 7 years creates a child's foundation. It's mandatory for a healthy nation, so we're fired up, ain't gonna take it no more. Tied up, ain't gonna take it no more. You say cool down, we say step down. You're breaking my mother's heart. Shame, shame. How could we forget that the children come first? We left them alone and they died at first. Mothers and fathers confused and forlorn, and when the children are missing, well, there's something wrong. Can't just focus on the kids with wealth. Can't pick and choose who gets the health care. Take another look at the great divide. It looks dangerously similar to genocide. So fired up, ain't gonna take it no more. We're tied up, ain't gonna take it no more. You say cool down, we say step down, you're breaking my mother's heart.
All right.
I love that. You're breaking my mother's heart.
It's really interesting listening to you, Holly, and obviously you and I both come from the 60s, a little bit from the 50s, but certainly
Hey, no.
no, not the 50s. Well, I was an early teenager in the 50s, actually. Not a teenager yet, but it's interesting.
Nice
I
cover.
was listening to him and checking out the lyrics and just thinking how much and talking about Pinochet and Chile and how things don't change. I mean, and I know we have some, probably people of all different political persuasions on here, and we're not trying to tell you how to vote. We're not trying to tell you what's right or what's wrong. We do have our beliefs as you have yours, but it's interesting. I go back to the time of Vietnam and Nixon, and when the war first started. And I was a kid growing up in a little coal town in Pennsylvania. I believed in the war because all our wars have been good up to that point. And it wasn't until I happened to wander into the counterculture, simply because my hair was long and I was playing in a rock and roll band, that I started to hear some other points of view. I got some other information, and my beliefs began to change based off information. And I've since come to have great compassion for those people who were in favor of the war, for those people who fought in it, some of whom thought it was the right thing to do, some of whom thought it was the wrong thing to do, their view of Nixon and Republicans in general. And in fact, there were a lot of Democrats. Gosh, it was Kennedy's and Johnson's war, so it wasn't just a Republican-Democrat thing. It was good war, bad war. So it's interesting that with the times now, it's not a war, but you have this a divide. You talked about the Great Divide in that song, and we have the Great Divide happening now. So I'm curious what your thoughts are from then till now, and what you see as a way out of it, and how we can find some way to come together.
What a big question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we cycle in and out, right? We're humans. This has been going on for thousands of years. Different people gain power, and there's a power shift, and then some people have money and some people don't, and some people live through a potato famine, and some people live through a genocide in their lives, and other people sail through their life and never have anything particularly challenging happen to them at all. So it kind of depends on what position we come from. But I came to my real anti-war activity through soldiers who were resisting the war from within the military. They'd been there. They were still patriots. They were happy to fight for the American people. They just felt like ultimately, whatever the original tension might have been, that the war against Indochina was going wrong. And it was taking out a lot of young men with it, from Australia, from France, from the United States, from Vietnam, lots of different people dying. And I think it's
not to mention the Vietnamese people who died from it.
Yeah, I thought I said Vietnam, but maybe not. Anyway, meant to. So I think that it's very hard for us not to grab onto a side. We come up with this two-party system so much, and the masks for pandemic all of a sudden became a two-party system question. It's not. A mask does not mean whether you're a supporter of Trump or a supporter of Biden or a supporter of none of them. It means you don't want to die and you don't want to give it to anybody else. But we get polarized so easily, don't we? It's just, and I know people who voted for Trump they're just saying, it didn't turn out the way I wanted. I'm going to vote for Biden just for these 4 years to see if we can get some leadership around this coronavirus, because we're in a danger zone and we're in a war zone against a virus. It's smarter than we are. And then in 4 years, if a different candidate in the Republican Party comes up, I'll go back to voting for a Republican. And I think that's such sane thinking. They're not digging their feet in. Right. And I know that a lot of white women voted for Trump. And knowing some of those policies, I'm not sure why. I don't think it's for women's good health, but they have to figure that out. And I hope for this year they'll just shift a little. Biden's a centralist. He's not a radical.
No, absolutely.
Come on into the center for a minute and see if we can get get to talking to each other again, get people on the two aisles not to be so far apart, and grow up a little bit. That would be nice. I'd
grow up a little bit. Yeah.
But I've been spending a lot of time the last couple of months. I was with my 4-year-old granddaughter. I never had kids, but the partner I was with had children, and his daughter had a kid. And I've been watching how we develop our knee-jerk reactions by watching her. It starts so early. That's why that verse in there says, it starts before you're 7 years old. We have to be so careful to give tenderness to.
No, it's the environment we're raised in. Absolutely. I was just thinking as you were speaking and talking about peace and kind of that pacifist mentality. I grew up going to a Quaker summer camp in Vermont, and it wasn't really religious. It was more just we would sit and have silent meeting, and it was very much about community and what you do in the community affects everybody, and we're all kind of working towards having a harmonious group that we can all be a part of and enjoy. And it's just, I just feel really fortunate that that's where I spent my summers, but that's just my own little piece of the world, and my parents happen to believe that that's where I should be, and so they sent me there. But everybody has their own reality, and I think it's really that shapes us so much, that early learning.
Very much so.
And the environment, somebody just wrote on the chat, I'm having a hard time following it. It's going by so fast. But the idea that we don't have that many decades left in terms of saving, getting the planet into a healthy space. And that's not a Republican Democratic issue. That's a global issue. And if we can figure out how to tolerate one another on all the things we don't disagree with, it would be really good to work on this one, because it's the only planet we have, right? It's the only one that we know has life on it that we can survive on. That may change, but for now, that's it. And what an extraordinary thing that we get to be here. I try to wake up every day.
It's magic.
Whoa. And the only reason I'm here is because of gravity. Otherwise, woo, off we go to the wild blue yonder. So,
well, unfortunately, though, I mean, it has become tribal. It has become not necessarily Republican, but certainly right and left, and that's the part that really it just makes me sad, because certainly the environment should not be political. It doesn't matter what party you breathe the same air, drink the same water, but when it becomes a question of if you belong to this party, or if you label yourself this or that, here's what you must believe, becomes a belief system. Religion does a lot of that. I grew up with that. I've let go of a lot of that. I've come up with my own, my own definition, my own picture, my own God belief. But and as we all do, but I think it has to do with a certain rigid belief systems, and I don't know how we can get to the point where we can loosen that up a little bit and say, wait a second, this is not Republican, Democrat, this is not liberal, conservative.
Well, Freebo, one of the ways is what you do. I mean, it's through music and art and theater and paintings and pottery and sculptures and singing together and all of that. I mean, sometimes we just need to stop talking and sing with each other. It opens up the heart. I have a song that's called I Ain't Afraid. I ain't afraid of your Yahweh. I ain't afraid of your Allah. I ain't afraid of your Jesus, but I'm afraid of what you do in the name of your God.
Well, before we have Alice play a song, can we hear that?
I'd like
song?
To hear that. Would you?
Are you sure? Because we don't have a lot of time. I wanted to.
Yes, we have as much time as we want.
We get to do whatever we want.
Really? Okay, let me grab this lyric here.
All right.
Well, I ain't afraid of your Yahweh. I ain't afraid of your Allah. I ain't afraid of your Jesus. I'm afraid of what you do in the name of your God. And I ain't afraid of your churches. I ain't afraid of your temples. I ain't afraid of your praying. I'm afraid of what you do in the name of your God. Rise up. Find a higher power, free up from fear, it will devour you. Watch out for that ego of the hour. The ones who say they know it are the ones who will impose it on you. I ain't afraid of your Yahweh. I ain't afraid of your Allah. I ain't afraid of your Jesus. I'm afraid of what you do in the name of your God. Rise up, find a higher story, free up from the gods of war and glory. Watch out for the threats of it, purgatory. The spirit of the wind won't make a killing out of sin or Satan. I ain't afraid of your Yahweh. I ain't afraid of your Allah. I ain't afraid of your Jesus. I'm afraid of what you do in the name of your God.
That's
Ain't
great.
that the truth?
Freebo, sorry, you weren't muted there. You were.
I almost started playing along with it. I said,
I wish they'd get that together. It would be so
I wish
fun.
too.
You know, we
I
just
know.
have that delay that happens when, but
Yeah.
they'll fix it. We're going to be in the COVID long enough. Somebody's going to fix it.
Somebody's gotta
got to be
figure it
working
out.
on it right now.
And we thank them for that. I saw you starting to play some stuff on your.
I know. I was like, oh, he doesn't know.
I
I
finally
wanted
think
to
you're in a
leave
key of
us.
B.
I wanted to leave us on the screen, but I didn't tell you. I'm sorry.
I'd love to hear a song from you two. What
Oh, sure. Yes.
one or the other of you?
You know, it's funny. It's taken me a while, Holly, to be comfortable as a songwriter sharing, you know, my beliefs as a, I guess, as a woman, as a person on the earth, and so much of what I write is really, really personal, and I really admire that this is your work, that this is how you express yourself, is through, you know, a lot of these really much bigger. Really consequential subjects. I'm just dipping my toe in. It's like it's all in me. I'm just a little, I don't know. I have, do you have any advice for a songwriter like me who is very comfortable writing about my feelings, but maybe not as comfortable making, you know, statements about what I believe?
I think that some of the powers that be in the media have called these songs political.
Right.
And made a gap. But for me, my songs are personal. This is deep down in my heart. It's the only way I really know how to express my vulnerability. I don't write good love songs to another person. You know, it's just I never have been able to do it. And I love that some people do, because what would I do when I need a love song if somebody else wasn't writing them? So I don't feel as if there's one is better than the other, as long as whatever we're writing is coming from deep into our souls and we're not just skimming along the top. Then I think it's good music. So and then you'll transition, I think, into writing about bigger global things if you start to feel desperate, maybe, that you have to express something.
Well, I do, and
turtles, you know.
I have been, and it's true. I think many of my peers are sort of getting to that point of really wanting to say more, and it's just interesting. It's always been a more like a private thing for me, just what I believe and what I do in my own life and the people that I, you know, conversations I have. But I'm not. It hasn't been as much of a public thing that I share musically, but I'm inching my way.
Well, I love
in that direction.
Love that you're inching your way. And I also think if you write it if every time a word comes up that's sort of a word that would be used in a political science class instead of in a song, that you can back away from that and say, well, how can I personalize that word? Right. How can I make it a poetic concept? How can I use imagery and symbolism, which is what, you know, in Chile, speaking of Chile, people could get thrown in jail or killed for what they said. So they learned to write about the dove flying free,
right,
from the bird out of the cage. You know, all these symbols that would help each other understand what they were talking about, because they couldn't really say, we have a friend in prison and we want to get them out.
Right. I love the song Gracias a la Vida.
Beautiful song.
Do you sing that ever? Do you
I do
perform
sing
that song?
that. I love that song, and I loved. I got to sing it with Mercedes Sosa.
I saw that in your bio, and I remember, Freebo, I played you Mercedes Sosa. It's such her version is just you got to sing it with her.
I invited her up to do
Oh,
2
my
concerts in
goodness.
California, and we did 2 shows together, and
So
we did that
amazing.
song. It's on one of my recordings somewhere. I can't
I'm
remember.
gonna go find that.
Yeah.
That's
Actually,
wonderful.
I didn't record it with her. I recorded it with maybe I recorded it with Inti Amani, the Chilean ensemble. I sang the Sting song about the disappeared with her. We did that as a duet, and then we did a thing called Todavía Cantamos, where always we sing is what it means. Anyway, she was a huge presence. She also is no longer on the planet, but I just think you can find ways of the Chileans, especially. They're not very rhetorical. I mean, unless they have a rally song, like they have a song that's their big anthem. That's El Pueblo Unido Jamás Será Vencido. The people united will never be defeated. But that's a chant. Their political songs are so filled with innuendo and delicate poetry. And so I'd say look at some of the translations of their work, and you're probably not that far away from writing a song about the global world.
Yeah. No, I'm not, and I actually speak Spanish, and I would love to read more of that in the original. I should look into that. That's a great idea.
Well, sing us a really personal, vulnerable
song. Sing about my feelings now. Great. Okay, Holly, I'm gonna just I'm gonna make us big and make you small. Here we go. Just feel like it just zoomed in. Oh, by the way, everybody, just as a reminder, I know you know this, but if you are able to send us a tip for the show tonight, we're going to be splitting all the money 3 ways between us 3 artists, and we're really grateful for your support. So thank you so much. If you can give us $5, that's great. If not, if you're not able to do that, we are happy you're here. And keep watching, and please share the video. And actually, while we're talking about sharing the video, if you guys watched last week, but we're doing this giveaway again from a wonderful company that's supporting our show, and the brand is Cordial Cables, and they very kindly have given us all of these really super nice premium instrument cables and mic cables that we're using tonight, and they sound great, if I do say so myself. So if you would like to enter to win a 20-foot Cordial instrument cable and a t-shirt, the value is $100 here on our little game show. And you can just comment in the chat, just say something about the cable, say like, I want to enter to win, something like that. Just put it in the chat on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll see your name, and also share the show if you're on Facebook. So if you just share it and comment in the chat, we will enter you in our little contest here, and we'll announce the name before the end of the show.
And just one more thing about Cordial Cables, there's a lifetime guarantee. So technically, this is the only cable that you'll ever need, and if it does go bad, they'll give you a new one for free. So that's pretty cool for any of you guitar players who've been out there and had gone through hundreds of cables as I have. It's a really nice thing.
Yes, they are super nice, and they're made with, I believe it's copper, and they are of an exceptional amount of copper, and also have a specific construction that allows for the reduction of noise. So it's a really clean signal, and that's what's really special about them. So
yeah, and I also make our mic cables are also Cordial, so you can get either the mic cable or the guitar cable for free if you only enter this contest, and it's really easy to do. Okay, so what you got, Alice? Come on, we got to do a song here.
I'm westward bound on the turnpike, and the sky is looking like rain. And the farther I go, the more sure I grow. I can't go back the way that I came. I passed the exit that led to my first love. I can't say where he's living now, but a lifetime ago I'd have taken that road just as fast as those turns would allow. Am I covering ground or just spinning my wheels. Have I got farther to go? Right around the next bend it may all be revealed, but the truth is you just never know. Oh, you just never know. Well, I look to this road for my freedom, and I drove it from end to end, and it dumped me into the ocean. Then it sent me right back again. Am I covering ground or just spinning my wheels? Have I got farther to go? Right around the next bend it may all be revealed, but the truth is you just never know. Oh, you just never know. I take it 1 mile at a time as I get up to speed along these white lines. I'm alone in the gathering night, adrift on a sea of little red lights. Well, I've left in a hurry and I've taken my time, driven blinded by love and by the tears in my eyes, broken down on the shoulder with no place to go. And I breezed through the night as I made my way home. Am I covering ground or just spinning my wheels? Have I got farther to go? Right around the next bend it may all be revealed, but the truth is you just never know. Oh, you just never know. Ooh, you just never know. Thanks, everybody. Let's bring Holly back. Ta-da.
That was lovely. I'm seeing on the chat that people say that Freebo's both his bass and voice are not coming through loud enough.
Oh.
Someone said they thought yours was too loud. I don't think yours is too high. I just think Freebo's is too low.
Oh. Well, thank you for letting us know. I should be keeping an eye on that.
But someone also said that was amazing, your song.
Oh,
I just thought I'd tell you that one.
good.
Somebody else went, wow.
Oh, I'm seeing it. Oh.
It's not about the bass and the harmony anyway, Holly. You know, it's really about.
Yes, but when you do a song, we want your bass and voice up higher.
It's all about the bass, Freebo.
When I'm talking, is my vocal as loud as Alice's?
No.
Would you say no?
No.
We need you
we
more
have a
present.
problem with
We're
that.
not sure what's happening
I
with
don't know
that.
what that is. Jeez, I hope it's not the cable.
Oh my god.
There have been jokes on the chat about that.
Oh god. All right. Well,
You think,
let's
come on,
see.
plug in that cable.
Damn, it is plugged in.
Yeah, play your bass for a minute.
Yeah, let's see. Play something.
That's better. Can you just, when you sing, get a little closer to your vocal mic, maybe?
Here's it.
How about when I'm here? Is that any better?
You're just not very present.
It's like, almost like it's not on.
Why don't you take Alice's mic
Check,
if you're going to sing?
Oh yeah, no, the same thing happened before, Alice. It's not. It might be the channel.
Yeah, it might be the channel. Should I switch it?
Channel. Why don't you put it in? I could use her.
Thanks for helping us,
I
Holly.
think it's probably the board.
Yeah, I think it's, well.
Hold on, folks. But thanks for the info. Appreciate it.
Oops. Uh-oh, what have I done? Oh my god, what just happened? Oh my god, why did the camera just go dark?
Yeah, you guys froze in the picture.
Oh my God, I have no idea what just happened. Uh-oh. Freebo. Holly, would you sing us another song while I figure out
Yeah,
what's
just
going
trying to.
on?
I will. This is a nice one if people want to learn it. I know that since I've been with this child, there's a lot of songs in my head like how many elephants can we put on the train, so it's but one of the songs she really loved me to sing to her at night when we're going to sleep is this song I learned from Odetta. And it goes, there ain't no use sit and cry, sail away, lady, sail away. You'll be an angel by and by, sail away, lady, sail away. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. Soon as I get my new house done, sail away, lady, sail away. I give my old one to my son, sail away, lady, sail away. Don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. I got a home in New Orleans, sail away, lady, sail away. All I got left is my old jeans, sail away, lady, sail away. And don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. I know I can't ask you to sing along, but I hope you're singing where you are because it's a lovely song to have in the toolbox. I always think about trying to have a song ready for any moment, any occasion. And for parents, this is a really good one. For kids, it's nice to out around the campfire. Let's see, here's another voice. I got a home in Baltimore. Sail away, ladies, sail away. Train come running right past my door. Sail away, ladies, sail away. And don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. Oh, the singers sing and the players play. Sail away, ladies, sail away. Let's sing our loved ones on their way. Sail away, ladies, sail away. And don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o, don't you rock 'em, don't you rock 'em, daddy-o. I wrote that last verse because I wanted to dedicate it to Odetta and to all these players and singers that have left the planet that were so important to me, like Odetta, like Mary Travers, like Lena Horne, like Gil Scott-Heron, Phoebe Snow, Hazel Dickens. It goes on and on. Ronnie Gilbert, Pete Seeger. So I thought it might be interesting in the chat, if you all want to, while we're listening to music, is to write down somebody who's left the planet that was a real important musical influence for you, somebody that really moved you. And I also might add, it's really hard to explain to a 4-year-old what "don't you rock 'em, daddy-o" means. You give it a try. Are you back on? I can't hear you.
Here we go.
Oh,
Wait,
can
can
you
you
hear
hear
us
us now?
Yeah.
Thank God. Holly, I have to tell you, I don't know what happened to our camera, so hello from the other camera.
Yeah.
Thank God we had a backup. My mom used to sing that to me, and I've known that song my whole life, and I remember as a 4-year-old not knowing what the heck that meant.
Oh, it's so great. I
Totally.
love you had that song.
I know that song well. As soon as you started singing it, it brings me right there.
And do you know how on the side here to open up so that I see more of the chat? I'm only seeing 2 or 3 at a time.
Oh,
I don't know how to make it.
I hate to say that I don't know.
Okay, it's all right. I'll just have to keep looking quickly. Go ahead, Bob, and let's hear some more music from
Oh
you.
my God.
Well, let me
Freebo,
ask
would
you,
sing
can you
something?
hear me now, Holly?
Much
How's my
better.
vocal?
Much-
Much better?
Yeah.
Okay, we switched channels.
You know,
All right.
thanks for being our sound woman. Thanks for holding down the fort while I figured out which camera to turn on. Let's see. See if I
So
can-
I know I'm way distant. I see myself as Alice is very big and I'm very small, but you know, that's what happens when you get old.
Let
You
me try
shrink.
switching it again. Let me see what happens. Oh, yay, it's back. Okay.
Oh, it's
good.
back. There we go.
Why does it have to?
Well, Holly,
behave
I'm
so
going to do a
badly?
song that actually I did a couple days ago. You might have heard this song on the Fleming Fest.
Yes, please
that
do.
we did.
I like it.
And because this is if a song ever was timely, it's now, and it's very much what we were talking about the divide between so many of us in so many ways, politically and philosophically and economically and ecologically, and this harkens back to my growing up in that little coal town in Pennsylvania in the 50s, where there seemed to be a promise, and the so-called American dream, at least for us white people, was alive and well, and and a coal miner, a lot of coal miners in this town, and a coal miner could work hard and buy a house and buy a car and afford to send his kid to college and to have a better life than he did, and a lot of that dream has gone away now. And certainly not going to get into the reasons of it. We could talk about that forever, and maybe we maybe we will after the song. But I want to share this with you. It's a title cut from an album I did back in 2005. So I wish this song were not as true now as it was then, but it is. The song's called "Before the Separation." Was it an illusion back when I was young? You know what? I'm going to take my headphones off because these things really cancel out loud. Could you hold them for me, Alice?
Sure, they're like earmuffs.
And it was such a nice introduction, too. It really was.
I'm sure you can do it again.
I'm going to do it again, at least as well. Here we go. Take two. Sounds much better to my ears. Was it an illusion back when I was young, when everyone was living on a promise? In unity and dignity, together we were one, believing in the freedom of a dream. Once upon the great frontier, not so long ago, the hope of man and earth were so connected. This beautiful creation here to help us grow is watching as it slowly slips away. On this carousel of madness, on a horse to kingdom come, I see our dream just melting in the sun. Won't you take me back to Eden, to a time when we were one, before the separation had begun? For the ones who have the money and the many who have none, the great divide grows wider by the moment. Equal opportunity, it doesn't mean a lot to the one who has to struggle to get by. On this carousel of madness, on a horse to kingdom come, I see our dream just melting in the sun. Won't you take me back to Eden, to a time when we were one, before the separation had begun? Hiding in our lives, we blindly close our eyes. Safe but not so sound, no freedom to be found, no. soul, show undying faith, fighting for a cause that I believe in. Tactical delusions lead me not astray, for the voices of the healing will survive. On this carousel of madness, on the horse to kingdom come, I see our dream just melting in the sun. Won't you take me back to Eden, to a time when we were one, before the separation had begun? Oh, won't you take me back to Eden, to a time when we were one, before the separation had begun?
That's beautiful.
It's a great one.
And people are saying on the side they love the harmony.
Yes.
What's that, Holly? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
People were saying they love the song and they love the harmony, the two voices together.
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for little sound tips. It's helping me. I got the board right next to me. I'm like, I'm doing a lot of things right now.
And Mike from Cordial, just in case you're watching, it wasn't the cable.
It was the
It was
channel.
the board. It was the channel.
So
Who picked it?
keep entering in the comments if you would like to be in the cable giveaway, because I swear they are really great and that was not the cable's fault.
Lots of amazing, beautiful, wonderful comments coming in about the song.
Oh, that's good. Holly, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Just musically speaking, it's interesting in your singing. I mean, there are many different derivations of folk, and very often in folk, it's not real soulful. The blues that comes out of folk doesn't really sound like like the blues people. And you have a lot of blues licks and sensibility when you sing your songs. It's a really interesting combination of the folk lyric and the blues melody. Where did that come from? What were your influences musically?
We lived out on a farm, like far away from everything, and my parents got really infatuated with when stereo came out. And I'm old enough to remember when stereo just came out. And my dad ordered a kit, and he put together a speaker on this side of the room and that side, and he got one of those train demonstration tapes. So the train went through the house, going from one side to the other. We never even seen a train,
Right.
But they went on to order a lot of music through catalogs. I don't know how they did it, but we had everything from Benny Goodman to Lena Horne to Marta Schlama to Elvis Presley to Belafonte and Odetta. I mean, just all over the place. And it's really how I learned that there was a world out there. And both the music and my parents supported the idea of being fascinated rather than fearful. And they just said, when you go out there, you're going to run into a lot of things you've never seen here. I'd never met a Black person. I'd grown up with Native American kids, but never an African American kid. So I love that they gave us that instruction to be fascinated. And so, but what I really wanted to do after singing all those different records, and I would stand in front of the mirror and lip sync to these great women singers, imagining their voice coming through my little body. And it was an extraordinary training. I mean, they were my singing teachers. I could just start weeping, singing along with an Edith Piaf song or whatever.
Oh.
Anyways, oh, she was so passionate.
Oh my God.
Judy
totally.
Garland, and,
Yes.
and then the cool and precise Ella Fitzgerald, and just one teacher after another. But what I was really wanted to be was a Broadway singer. I wanted to be, or I should say Broadway star. That's really the important word there. And I studied dance and theater and music to do that. But in 1971, I got an invitation to do some work in the anti-war movement, and it shifted my focus. I was doing hair on Broadway, And
Really?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
and we were there the
Yes.
night the students were shot at in Kent
Right.
State. And the actors all gathered in the dressing room to decide whether to do something because the Hair was an anti-war play.
Mm.
They decided to stop before the end of the show and say something about it, which is, of course, totally against all union rules. That's not okay. But they weren't the kind of people that followed rules, people who wrote Hair. So, and they were still having bomb scares. They were still having people walk out during the nude scene or when the flag touched the ground. I mean, it was an interesting time to be in the show. And, but that's really what I wanted to do. And so I think whatever the sounds are that are in my voice come from having been exposed to so many different kinds of music growing up, but also that when I perform, there's definitely that Broadway ta-da that's there.
Yes, I feel that, and that makes so much sense. And I had read that you had that background, and it just, the projection and the clarity of each word is so it's so there.
Oh yeah,
when
you get
sing.
diction driven into you when you're going to do Broadway work. Yeah.
Yes.
But then I started using the consonants, for diction, but also for rhythm, because I sing a cappella a lot, or I sing with just a piano player. And I don't play the guitar, and I very seldom work with a guitarist. So the things like when I was singing earlier, you got to fire it up there. You got to use consonants as part of the rhythm, right? And it not only affects the diction, but it affects the phrasing and the rhythm of the song.
So important. Yeah, we
Absolutely.
as in our work together in the studio, Freebo produced my last record and talked a lot about not just phrasing, but how the rhythm of the words actually, really can enhance the rhythm of the rhythm section, or kind of work against it. And you can do so much with that if you focus on it. Which is not so much in the folk world, like that's not so much an emphasis. So that was I had to kind of learn that. That was really
unless you're coming up through a different folk other than the Northern European folk. I think that music in the other folk communities that maybe come out of Cuba or the Caribbean or Latin America, rhythm is such an important part.
For sure.
Of course.
Music, and we can learn from it. The main thing I say is let's not steal from it, let's learn from it. And so many times commercial music just sort of skims off the top of it because wasn't it, I can't remember which Black artist it was. It was the white companies didn't want them, but they wanted white singers to sing his songs. Who was that? I'm blanking out, but just to make it more acceptable. And that's a skim, that's a steal, instead of really learning from it. And
there's so many stories of Black writers writing songs. Arthur Crudup
Big Boy Crudup,
and the Elvis's first hit, and being paid however many few bucks for the song, and
$100 to give away the writing and the publishing.
Well, I remember being in Japan doing a tour of the Hiroshima Nagasaki Museum, and I came out devastated, just absolutely undone. And the tour guide said to me, Japanese man, he said, you can't be responsible for what went on before you were born. You can only be responsible to make sure it never happens again. So here we are as conscientious musicians, and we can't be responsible maybe for what happened prior to being in the music scene, but we can work now to make sure it never happens. So even songs that are called traditional that come out of the Black community, I take that royalty and I contribute it to some organizations that's dealing with racism. It's their money, it was their song, even though nobody copyrighted it. And just try to learn how to give back along the way.
I love that's a really beautiful way of doing that. I love that. What songs in particular are you thinking of that you do that for?
I did a song that was called "There's a Meeting Here Tonight," and somebody wrote it. Somewhere it came from. It came out of the church,
Public domain.
Right.
And I just make a mental note.
Yeah.
And songs like "Kumbaya," which I do as a hymn rather than as a fireside song. It came out of a serious place. We sort of started making a joke about it, it's a kumbaya moment, but it really is a meaningful song for the people in the Georgia Sea Islands, So.
How do you do kumbaya?
Kumbaya, Kumbaya. 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 And in the Gullah tradition, they were saying, come by here, but it sounded to our Western ears as kumbaya, oh, kumbaya. And it was often sung when the people were going out in the ships, in the boats to get fish to feed the community, and there was a storm coming on, but they needed to carry on, and they would stand together and ask whatever the power that be is in their culture, come by here, oh Lord, come by here. It was like shine, bring your little help right here.
Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful. I never heard it like that. I mean, I have a new appreciation for that song. That's gorgeous. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I never realized it. I mean, I guess I didn't study Holly Near, but you've got an amazing voice. You really do.
She does.
Well, I'll tell you, Freebo, it's gotten better as I got older. When I was younger, it had a harsh, high part to it. It wasn't bad. It's gotten woodier and rounder and warmer, and I just like it better now.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you take care of it? Do you do vocal exercises? Do you drink a lot of water? I mean, do you have any advice for those people who are getting old and afraid their voice is going to go south? Or you're going, if you take care of yourself, it can actually get better. But what are your thoughts on that?
What do I do? I don't ever hurt it. I don't do particular vocal exercises.
You don't? That's what I was going to ask. Do you warm up?
When I'm touring, my singing teacher said to me, you're singing so much that you don't have, I was singing every day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and sometimes 2 shows. And she would just say, before you go to a show, just start humming. Just start humming. And if I wake up and think maybe I'm sick, if I just go, and I can get my hum up into my nasal, into my, that part between your eyes, then I know that my vocal cords aren't hurt. I maybe don't feel well, or I maybe have a cold, but as long as I can get that resonation happening and not be sitting down here, singing isn't really in our throats. It's too bad people think that, but if I can sing like and it just all stays up there, but the moment it comes down to wow, then I know I'm in trouble. Don't bang it around. I guess that's the thing. I don't bang my voice around.
You do have to care for it. Freebo has turned me on to a tape of vocal exercises. That's our friend Florence Riggs, a wonderful vocal coach, doing them, and it really changed I didn't have a practice of just preparing vocally for shows, and I think even if I don't do it every time religiously, just to have like some kind of ritual around getting it warm and ready is something I just kind of took for granted. But it really it almost like it reduces one's fear of like, oh, maybe I won't quite hit that note or hit that note. And if you start to use it before, like, it's there, it's just more of that confidence is there.
At your age too, it's really important to vocalize, I think. I don't mean to turn this into an age thing, but the fact is, when I was younger, I had much more trouble keeping my voice healthy than I do now. I would get hoarse, I'd get laryngitis, I would, had much more trouble. And so, yes, do everything.
Anything to do with your life choices?
Well, I didn't do drugs. I was not a druggie I didn't, I got paranoid and sleepy with marijuana. So I lucked out. I wasn't, nothing really was that, but it was a lot of stress. I was doing a lot of, singing in war zones. And I was also singing in places where I sang too loud. I remember hearing Liza Minnelli at the Hollywood Bowl, and I thought, girl, you could step it back 30% and we'd still feel you. And I learned a lot from that. I realized that it's okay to invite the audience to lean in.
Right.
And I, for a long time, was going right there to reach the last person in the balcony, knock their socks off. And I learned, it took time. It was my ego and it was my youthful energy and it was all, but just to settle down, Holly.
Well, and I think also when you get, I mean, look, what we do by definition, there's ego in it. We're performing, therefore we want people to like us, and we're invested in them liking us. And I think the older you get, and the more you settle into the actual art and the craft, it becomes about delivering the song.
Yeah.
And so, how can you feel a song if I've got to sing to that person in the last row? I'm going to Ethel Mermanize the best I can.
Ooh, Ethel Mermanize.
Yeah.
I know, but it's true. And Alice and I talk about this all the time. It ultimately, I mean, the art is getting the ego out. Certainly, playing the bass, it's a support instrument. But when I first started playing, I wanted to get my licks in.
Yeah.
Now I don't really care about getting my licks in. It's about supporting. But every once in a while, it's my moment.
Your little moment.
Because the music is giving me that moment.
That's right.
The space is there. It's saying, take it. Okay, now it's up to me to take it and do something cool, and then lay back. And I think it's the same thing with singing a song. What it's about the emotion of the song. It's about the melody. It's about the music. It's about you are the vehicle to sell the song, and that's what I hear in your singing.
Yeah.
That's what I hear in Alice's singing too.
And that's what Frank Sinatra did. I mean, what an incredible singer who knew how to phrase a song.
Oh, beautiful.
Just there's lots of ways to tell a story through a song. Lots of ways.
Yeah.
Well, some more music. What do
Yes.
Yeah, Alice, tell us a story through a song.
Okay.
do you have a duet, or do you just sing each your solos?
Do we have a duet? We
Well,
have a duet,
The duet we do is we've got a real nice one, Angel from Montgomery.
but we've also got.
But
We do that.
But we actually have. Well, why don't you do something? We could do the homeless song, which is a duet.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
I kind of wanted to do that.
Yeah,
another.
Maybe we'll do a couple in a row here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. I want to do a new song for you guys. June is a dream, I've had it before. The sweet summer breeze coming through my screen door. Don't wake me up, I'll be begging for more. I'll always let you in. Pieces of fate fall into my hands. What we did that night wasn't part of my plans. Hard to accept when you don't understand, but I learned not to feel ashamed. You can run, you can hide, but it don't give a damn for your pride. Oh, I'm a happy fool, love has no rule. I didn't know I needed you this bad. Wasn't fully aware of the thirst I had. But now that I know, baby, I can't go back. I'll never be the same. You can run, you can hide, but it don't give a damn for your pride. could count all the days left before the goodbye. Nobody knows it better than I, but I don't wanna live that way. You can run, you can hide, but it don't give a damn for your pride. Oh, I'm a happy fool, and love has no rules. No rules. No Thank you.
Love that song.
Thought you were falling off your chair earlier. What happened?
I just wanted to tweak my amplifier. Speaking of amplifiers, in terms of our sponsors and people who help us out, the people at Fishman, they make a wonderful amplifier called the Fishman Loudbox. It's a guitar amp, but it works great with the bass, and it's got a nice little. It's got 2 channels, and it's got some really nice effects in it. It's got an XLR out the back.
You can
so
use your
plug-
new Cordial cable to go out the back.
You can do exactly what I'm doing. They also make nice pickups, but the people at Fishman been very good to us, and we certainly want to thank Norm's Rare Guitars.
Yes.
And they have us on their YouTube channel, and a lot of you Norm's guitar freaks who are there.
Fans.
I use freaks in the best sense of the word, because
You're a freak.
I am a freak, yeah. Well, when we had long hair, we used to call ourselves freaks, but Norm has been very kind to us, and the people on his channel have been very good.
And I want to mention, because I've seen several folks asking when Lemo's going to be on the show. Actually,
next week.
Turns out we actually changed the date, so mark your calendars for next week. We're going to have Michael Lemo from Norman's Rare Guitars. You all know him and love him. He's an amazing guitar player and also songwriter, and he's going to be singing and playing some tunes and hopefully backing both of us up. I would love that. That's going to be next Wednesday, November 4th, and we're actually going to be at Norman's Rare Guitars. So the whole gang will be there. We'll get a
Hail.
special guest appearance by Norm himself. So definitely tune in next week. How about that duet?
Yeah, this song was originally it was not written as a duet, and I wanted to write a song about homelessness, Holly, and talk about social issues. And I think we have an obligation in the folk world, and I've been in many worlds. Certainly with Bonnie, because it comes from blues and folk and rock. Some people say pop. I'm not quite so sure about that. Not quite sure what pop is anyway.
I think it changes.
I suppose it does. But anyway, I wrote this with a friend of mine, Karen Taylor Good, and I wanted to write about homelessness. So we thought the best way to approach this would be to write it in the first person. So we did, and I put it on my most recent record. And it's kind of interesting when you do a song in the first person, you kind of become the character in the song. And the song does transport me. But when Alice and I started working together, doing shows together, I thought it might be kind of cool to turn it into a duet, and it works with 2 voices, because you don't have to be male to be homeless, to be female, just be a human being. I suppose some dogs that are homeless, but we're talking about people in this case, and it's the one thing that we're talking a little bit politically as well, that the candidates talk about all sorts of issues, and I have not heard homelessness come up at all. They're the forgotten people, 1 million, 2 million homeless people who just completely have somehow fallen off the radar, and it's really, really sad when you have more and more people becoming billionaires and millionaires in this country. So I don't deal with what the source of the problem is, but this song comes from a place of empathy. It's called When There's No Place Like Home. used to be your neighbor. I had my job and I had my pride, but they shipped them both to China, and it ripped a hole inside.
They took my house last summer. Now I'm hungry, cold, and scared. And I'm wondering, does anybody care? When there's no place like home, and you're out on your own, you feel abandoned and alone. When there's no place like home.
I used to be a hero, the strong, the proud, the few. When duty called, I stood up tall for the red, white, and blue.
But no hero's welcome waited when his damaged soul returned. Uncle Sam don't give a damn, that's what I learned. When there's no place like home, and you're out on your own, you feel abandoned and alone. When there's no place like home. Please don't look right past me.
A simple smile could help me make it through.
I could be you. If home is where the heart is, then where's the heart supposed to go? When your living room's a cardboard box and your address is Skid Row.
If a man's home is his castle and the place where he is king,
What happens when he loses everything? When there's no place like home, and you're out on your own, you feel abandoned and alone. When there's no place like home. When there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Nice, Freebo.
Oh, thank you, Alice.
Just reminded me how much work Norm does with the homeless also.
Yeah,
He's-
indeed.
He's
Yeah.
really with the Midnight Mission.
He
and
works at the Midnight
know it's
Mission,
an
gives them a
issue
lot of
that's
money, and gets a lot of.
close to his heart. Let's
Yeah.
bring Holly Near back. Hi, Holly
Holly.
Near.
Hi, Freebo, that's a great song.
Thank
It's
you.
really something. It sounds beautiful. Two of you singing it.
Thank you, Holly.
Mhm.
It's great.
It's honestly, I don't mean to patronize you or proselytize, but it's an honor to sing it for you. Really.
Oh. Well, good. That's nice. That's the thing a person gets when they get been around a long time. They get to be
You become
to be-
iconic.
they get to be honored and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
I mean, you become an elder, and some people look at you as being old. Some people look at you as being wise. Some people don't look at you at all.
I know, ain't that the truth? When you get older, you become invisible. No, I've been an elder in training for a while. I paid attention to the older women singers that have gone before me, and
Amen.
not a lot of them left. It's
I
really
was
interesting to
I
become
was
the
gonna
oldest generation.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. It's just an issue that's obviously very important to me. Is just your role in the what women are able to do now today. What my generation is able to do in the music industry, and because of you, and in the world really, and the work that you've done, and in terms of being a pioneer as far as having your own record label, kind of paving the way for folks like Ani DeFranco and others who have begun their own labels. And I'm just grateful to you for all of that. And I look up to you, and as I do to so many of the great female singers that I grew up listening to. I'm just wondering if you could share a little bit about kind of how it was for you early on in your career as a young woman, coming up in the music industry, and I'd just like to hear more about that.
Well, I had trouble getting a record contract. I had made a lot of demos for all the majors, and they were very nice to me, I have to say, but they would say things like, we don't think you can be a pop singer because there's not enough element of submission in your voice. Or they would say,
I love that. Not enough element of submission. I've never heard that before, but
we like the melody, but you need to change the words, or various, or you're too showbiz, you're too Broadway. So I think back in that time, and I know both Linda and Bonnie, and I don't know whether they would agree with me, but it felt to me like, in terms of stereotypes, that you could be the red hot mama, which Bonnie sort of followed in that path for a while, or you could be the helpless waif, which was Linda. But they weren't either of those things. They just got sort of thrown into those categories. That Bonnie could outcurse a sailor, and Linda was fragile. Well,
so could Linda if you got to know her.
Yes, exactly. You watch that beautiful documentary about Linda, and
oh man,
Linda Ronstadt was not fragile. And and Bonnie is just such a solid, wise person. Yeah. So, but these were little categories that the PR departments wanted to put women, at least white women. I'm not sure that women of color fell into those same categories, but I heard enough different things that I thought, I'm going to have to myself into quite a pretzel here to satisfy the requirements. And so when I got back from doing a tour in the Pacific, Hawaii and the Philippines, Okinawa, Japan, singing for soldiers who were resisting war and racism from within, I wrote a lot of songs. And I thought, well, I'll just step aside for a minute and I'll make this record. And then I'll go back and get a record contract. So then I found out you have to have a business license, and you have to have a name, and you have to have an ad, all this sort of stuff. And so I called it Redwood Records, and my parents agreed to store the record. It was records at the time. Store them in, someone said Okinawa. Yes, we were in Okinawa. And it was, they would ship them out as people wanted them. They became the sort of distribution center in the living room. And I didn't know at the time that apparently I was the first woman to start an independent record company. If I had known that, I probably wouldn't have done it. And that's the beauty. If you have young people, don't tell them, you can't do that. You don't know how to do it. Because if you know how to do it, you might decide, oh, that's too hard. I'd never even been in a recording studio. And I went in and made that first record. So I learned a lot after that. But we laid down a lot of bricks. It's true. I think that a lot of the women like Chris Williamson and Margie Adam, Linda Tillery for sure, Mary Watkins had all tried in the industry to do that pretzel thing. And at some point just got weary of it and began working outside of the mainstream. And in doing so, I think we laid down some bricks that allowed people like Melissa Etheridge and Ani and people like that to just sail into the industry if and when they wanted to, because we normalized feminist women and feminist music so that it wasn't quite so scary to the industry.
Right.
Well, and that leads me to the question also, Holly, about about gender equality and about LGBT and your early advocacy of that. And I like to say back before gay was gay, when gay meant something else. And
She's been on that since
no,
before gay was gay.
it's because in Christmas you kind of can't say it. But in any event, it's, I mean, and having worked with Bonnie during the 70s and met her in the 60s and the whole women's liberation thing. And I mean, Bonnie hated it when somebody said, wow, you play great guitar for a girl.
That's
And
it.
she, I mean, she would just explode. You know, say, I either play great guitar or I don't, not about a girl, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
just stop it. And I mean, I learned so much being around her and the whole feminist thing. And you were obviously in the front lines, and you were living that life. So not just about the feminine, but just about, you know, gender equality and you know, and not being, quote, normal, which now finally is normal. What the hell is normal, and according to whom? What are your thoughts on it? Take us back, if you would, to some of those early days and that fight for gay rights.
Well, when I was about 24, I started meeting women who were writing more woman-identified songs. They weren't out lesbian yet; it was too dangerous, but they were leaning towards more woman-identified songs. And I had just never heard them before. And I remember saying to my folks, you know, you brought all this music into our living room. Why didn't you bring these songs? And then when I met these women, they said, well, we just wrote them last week. You know, no way you're just going to brought them in. So it was really a new thing. And every one of them was just going a little farther, putting their foot in. How far can we go before we get in trouble here? And so I came into a time where I was watching that happen. And later on, and I had never been associated, I never had a woman lover. I didn't know much about the gay and lesbian world. And it was when I was making music with these extraordinary women that I ended up falling in love with one of the women I was working with. And it was lovely. It was not as frightening by the time I came into this world because of a lot of the things the groundwork that had been laid before me. You know, we all benefit from that, which comes before. But I remember trying to get Wendy Waldman, who's a singer-songwriter. I wanted to do a double bill at the Troubadour. And they said, oh, we can't have two women. You either have a male folk singer or a comic before you, but we can't have two women headliners. And we said, why? You know, and but he wouldn't go for it. So later on, Chris Williamson and I tried again. We tried to get both of us to come in. And I think by that time, they'd softened a little bit again, but there was still a no. And when we said why, I said, well, who would go first? We go, one of us. You know, we just, that's sort of like not what's going on here.
The brunette.
First, you know, the brunette. And so one night Chris and I played there, and then Meg Kristen showed up and came on and did a special guest, and the place was just hopping. The place is sold out, people hanging from the rafters. And I think when a concert venue sees that, concert producer, they all of a sudden go, oh, there's a market here.
Right.
And as soon as you become able to take an idea, even if it's not a popular one or it's a scary one, as soon as people can start to see that it makes money, everything starts to shift a little bit, you know.
Look at Ellen. I mean, please.
Yeah, Ellen DeGeneres and Melissa, who was on the cover of Time magazine having a baby. You know, it was like things moved forward. But I think it was the late 70s, maybe early 80s, but People magazine approached me and asked if they could do an article about me. And I wasn't that famous, you know, let's get a grip here, but they couldn't find any other famous actor, singer, dancer who would come out as a lesbian, and they wanted to do a feature on it. So I said, yeah, sure. I mean, I'd already ruined whatever career I was going to have in Hollywood. I wrote a song called No More Genocide in My Name, you know, that's what you hear that. And I think
may as well do the article.
Yeah, might as well come out as a lesbian. So we did a piece in People magazine. It was very nice. They didn't, it wasn't exploitative, but it was a kickoff. And then slowly other people realized that they could survive it.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting stuff. I mean, it's just, I look back, you know, and again, you look back from the 60s till now, and you originally said, you know, we didn't have this kind of technology. We didn't have, you know, cell phones, didn't have computers. We did have guitars, and we had vocal, and we had 12 notes, and we had the English language. And but it's amazing how much has changed. And it's always, and I think you have the same thing, politically now. You have a lot of change going on, and you have those people who don't want to believe in climate change and the separation. And I think there's always been resistance to change, and there have been those of us who've been willing to change or at least try it. And I think it comes down to fear,
Yeah.
basically, and courage, how you fight through the fear for something new. I mean, so many of us would rather stay with, uh, the old pain that we know rather than something new that we don't know. And,
Life is scary. I mean, look at
It
our own
is.
relationships. We sometimes
Yeah.
just dig our heels in and get stuck.
Yeah.
And it takes sometimes a big explosion to unstuck
Yeah.
us,
I feel like that happens to me just in the course of one day. I can
Yeah.
get myself real stuck, and then
Mhm.
you have to choose to unstick. It's a
And I think
constant.
people had a really bad image of what it meant to be a lesbian. But this couple came to one of my concerts once. They just think of them as all bundled up. It was cold, and they came back to the dressing room, and they had disowned their daughter who had gone to San Francisco and had told them she was a lesbian. And she said, "Before you do that, will you do me one favor? Will you go to this Holly Near concert?" And they went, and it turned out, he said, the only idea he'd ever had about lesbianism was two women doing something pornographic with one another for men. And so that's what they thought their daughter was doing, was that she'd become a porn
Oh my God.
artist. And can you imagine the courage
Wow.
that it took
Wow.
for them to get up and come to a concert
Yes.
where they maybe thought it was going to be full of porn stars, right?
Oh
But
my
they got
God.
them.
How
And they,
disappointing.
oh my God. And they found all these happy women singing together,
Right, right.
all polishy
Wow.
and clean,
Wow.
because lesbians are pretty clean cut. And
Wow.
there wasn't any porn, and there were all ages, and there were children, and there were parents. And they came backstage and they said, "Thank you so much.
Wow.
We don't have to disown our child." So
Wow.
it's changing the image of what's inside people's heads.
Yeah.
well, and the changing
Wow.
of the image really involves with somebody at some point coming out and having the courage because it's not normal according to conventional society. What is normal is heterosexuality, and if somebody is not heterosexual, there's something wrong with them. And it takes somebody to come out and say, "Wait a second, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with my partner." And bit by bit, people become exposed to it, like with anything. And before you know it, you start to do some studies like, well, some people are just born that way. No, 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 you can be changed. No, it's not a question of being changed, and there's nothing wrong with it. My son is gay, and I'll never forget when he came out to me, and he was probably like 21. And my very first reaction was, "Are you sure?" or maybe you haven't met the right woman yet.
Oh,
And
spot on, Freebo, spot on.
oh no! Hey, I mean, look, I'm a product of the '50s, and it was basically, he basically said to me, he said, "Look, my friends accept me for who I am. My friends love me. They know me, and basically, nobody I know." Has a problem with it, but you seem to have a problem with it. So I would suggest you go and look inside at what your problem is with my being gay, and then get back to me.
Yeah.
and
Go do your homework, Dad.
no, really, it was huge. It made me look at myself, going, "Wait a second.
Yeah.
What do I have a problem with it? What is my problem with it? Well, I did, and before you know it, it really helped turn me around even more as a human being. Became more open in so many respects, more empathetic, and it was the best gift that he could have given to me. So I think it takes. It takes adventurous and courageous people throughout the ages coming out with something new and defying convention. And say, "Wait a second, no, this is who I am." And again, I admire you for having been on the front lines of that.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Well, it used to be that redheads were trouble. They were not normal. You needed to
They
be
still are.
brunette or
Look at
blonde,
Alice.
but here we are,
Guilty.
Alice. Here we
I
are.
know. Still standing. I know.
I remember a man saying to me, "Well, I can kind of imagine women being gay, but I just can't imagine men being gay. Like, I just can't imagine kissing a man." And I said, "Why not? You ask women to kiss you all the time." So come on.
Right.
Get a little self-respect together
You
here.
asked.
You don't have any songs to talk about that, do you?
I've never written a song about that, but if you come up with one,
That
you
is
can
so funny. I
Maybe we
love
can
that.
write one together, the three of us.
Yeah. Holly,
You know,
would
I'm
you
gonna have
sing
to
us
depart
one?
soon. I'm sorry about that. I'm having a really good time, but
Oh no, so am I.
Yeah.
you
This
say
is
I should.
this is
sing
what
one more?
happens.
This is
You get inside, and then it's hard to
That's
stop.
why we
Wow.
call the show Inside Live. Speaking of which, Alice, do we have a winner in our
Oh,
contest here?
I'm gonna
Have you
choose
picked-
one while I'm gonna figure
Oh,
that
while
out while
Holly
Holly does
sings
a song.
something?
Yes.
Okay.
So please sing
Someone
us one
says,
more. Would you?
Alice, you have a fiery temper, or it's a question. Do you have a fiery temper? That's associated with redheads. That's
It
the,
is,
that's the mythology about.
Yeah, it is the mythology, but I feel like there's some truth to it.
Yeah, I think.
I can't speak for all redheads, but
I used to have very red hair. It's gray now, so that's what it looks like now.
do you agree with the mythology to some extent?
I wasn't a very angry person, but I was very energetic, fiery.
Yeah. No, I don't think of anger. I think of just, chutzpah.
Pizzazz.
Okay, right. Okay, I'll sing a song while you find out who won what.
Okay.
How about that? I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. There is a hurting in my family, and there is sorrow in my town. There is a panic all across the nation, and there is a wailing the whole world round. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. May the children see more clearly, and may the elders be more wise. May the winds of change caress us, even though they burn our eyes. You can sing along at home. I am open and I am willing, and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange, It dishonors those who go before us, So lift me up to the light of change, Give me a mighty oak to hold my confusion, and give me a desert to hold my fear. Give me a sunset to hold my wonder, and give me an ocean to hold my tears. I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change.
Oh, beautiful, Holly, and very,
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, somebody asked me once, well, what are you? Are you a Democrat, a Republican, a communist, a lesbian, a straight person? You know, they want out all these words. And I said,
Right.
I don't know. I'm open and willing. And that's okay.
Yeah. No, it's too
Thank you so
often.
much for having me here. I really
Oh,
appreciate it.
absolutely.
Thank you for being
Been
here.
great fun. Do we have a winner or
I'm trying.
okay.
It won't let me scroll up, and I can't actually see the part where people put their names in.
Maybe Jen. Maybe Jen could help us. Can she do that?
I texted her. We might have to pick someone after the show is over because I can't
How do we
see
do
the
that, Alice?
comments. I will figure it out. I will find a way.
Or I don't know. I guess one of you could sing a song and Alice could keep looking for you.
That's true.
This could go on all night, folks. We can't figure out who won the damn table.
Okay. Here's the new plan. The first person right now to comment that they would like a cable will be the winner.
Wow.
Why not? Who would like
Who
one?
was that?
Somebody tell me.
Wait. How about the third person?
Okay, the third. Okay.
Oh, that first person just got really excited.
Somebody's got to.
Well, they can do it again.
We're not very good at running this whole.
No, we're not.
No, but you're so cute. You've been wonderful. It's been really great to hang out.
Oh my gosh, we've got one.
Yeah.
Peter would like a cable. Great.
Peter who?
Peter Parziale. Peter, you are our winner. We will.
Is Peter a guitar player? Or
now you're just everyone's coming on saying, "But I want a cable. I want a cable."
Peter, you are our winner.
Well,
I've chosen him.
But
Let's all be happy.
He's the first person.
And here's the thing: for those of you who didn't win, there's always next week because we're going to be doing this again next week.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
When we have Michael Lemo as our special guest, and the people from Norm's Guitar
And
know that.
he's
but
amazing,
you will have an opportunity, and the week after that.
So watch again.
And the
But
week
Be happy
after
for
that-
Peter.
Peter, you are our winner for the
Yes,
night.
Peter.
And Peter, will you do me a favor and write to me at alice@alicehow.com and give me your
Actually, Norm just said he should email him and gave him an email.
Okay, great. Holly, you're just running the chat for us.
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous. I only
Peter,
see one at a time, so I have to be really careful here. Anyway, I have to go.
so do we.
Oh, we do
So
too.
much. And
Holly,
thank you for
you're
inviting me.
wonderful. Thank you.
I had a great time. Bye,
Thank
everybody
you so
else
much
here
for
in the
being
world,
here.
wherever you are.
Okay. Bye, Holly. And vote. Everybody vote. Okay.
Should we take him out with a song, Alice?
Should we?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we should. I think we should.
Great.
And we want to thank you all for watching. And
How about we do Angel?
we could do Angel.
We
That's
had a
good idea.
request for Angel.
We do we?
Yeah.
Okay. Who else we need to thank?
Well,
Rockseller Magazine.
yeah.
And we could do that. Kevin and Mayor and Laurie. And also,
Uh-oh.
wait a second here.
It's falling apart, everybody. You can take these off now.
I can take these up. Who else we need to thank, Alice?
We need to thank Audio Technica Microphones for giving us
Yes.
these beautiful mics that
We
we're
do
using.
indeed.
And again, thanks to Fishman and Alert the Globe
Alert the
for
Globe,
posting
who's
our show
broadcasting
on
this also. Thank
their
you,
site.
Ron.
Let's do one more, Freebo.
Okay, let me make sure that I'm in tune with you, Alice. Thank you all for tuning in and for staying with us. We appreciate that. Every week it's going to be different. Like I say, this was obviously all about Holly and politics and sociological stuff and history. And next week with Michael Lemo, that's going to be very much more about guitar playing, and we're going to be with Michael, so I get to play bass with him.
So
and
excited
we
for
get
that.
to have him play guitar with us, which would be really nice. And the week after that, we've got Scarlett Rivera. Those of you who don't know who Scarlett Rivera is, Scarlett is a wonderful violin player, and she was a very big part of the Bob Dylan Rolling Thunder Review.
Yeah, maybe you've seen the new documentary that's it's on Netflix, I believe, called The Rolling Thunder Review, about that tour. And she is such an iconic character, not just, I mean, especially in that film, she's almost like she's like a co-star in that film. She's just such a presence, and we're really excited to have her.
So every week we're going to have somebody different, and we really appreciate it. We learn something every week, and hopefully you do too, and hopefully we can entertain you in the process, and somewhere between music and sociological stuff and political stuff and everything about the human condition. This is a pretty amazing song about the human condition, actually, and it's written by John Prine, the late John Prine, who unfortunately passed from COVID. And I got to record and sing this song and play this song with Bonnie Raitt many, many times. Back in the 70s, Bonnie made this song famous. Many people have covered it since then. And I did this on my latest record. I'm still working on it, and decided once Alice and I started working together again to turn it into a duet. So we'd like to share this with you. This is our version of Angel from Montgomery. I am an old woman named after my mother. My old man is another. The child has grown old. I've dreamed of thunder and lightning was desire. This old house had been burned down such a long time ago.
Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. Believing this living is just a hard way to go. When I was a young girl, I had me a cowboy. You weren't much to look at, just a free rambling man. But that was a long time ago, and no matter how I tried, the years they just flew by like a broken down dam. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. Believe in this living is just a hard way to go.
There's flies in the kitchen, I hear 'em all buzzing, and I ain't done nothing since I woke up today.
How the hell can a person go to work in the morning and come home in the evening and have nothing to say? Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can
steep, hard way to go. Yes, it is.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Vote. It's going to be very interesting.
We'll see you after Tuesday. And we're excited to be at the shop with Michael Lemo next
Absolutely.
Wednesday, November 4th.
5 o'clock
But
Pacific,
between
8
now and
o'clock
then,
Eastern.
You've got a job to do, and that job is to vote however you do it. So,
Thanks, Alice.
okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Fade us out, Alice. Fade us out.